Whoops. Got something. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you could hear that. I have my phone still with the volume
No, I
on.
didn't hear it.
It's kind of funny. A minute ago, it said that we've been streaming for 108 seconds, and we had 108 watching, so that was pretty cool. Anyway.
See?
Welcome, Brian. How you doing this evening, man? Good to see you.
I'm good. So how are you?
I'm doing great, man. I see we already got a lot of folks on here. It's so fun.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about this. Sometime during the year we get a little burned out, a little tired. Sometimes I'm not. I'm just kind of worn out. But look who we have here.
Look.
This stream team every Wednesday night. It's just energizes me. Sometimes it's the highlight of my day for sure. And even it can almost be the highlight of my week. And so it's always great to see everyone in here. And I can't believe we already have 100 and mine says 16 people watching.
Wow.
And we just are in the first minute or so of us being on here. So it's awesome to see. Greg, what's going on, man? Sounds like you're busy, tired, all the above. You've been crazy busy, man.
It's that time of year, and you guys are in for a real treat because I don't know that I've got a voice. It went out in St. Louis, so we'll see if it kicks back in. I'm nursing it tonight with a new product. Yes Honey. We're proud to be one of the first distributors for Yes Honey, and it's a soda sweetened with honey, no artificial colors, super good. So I've been kind of nursing that a little bit, trying to get some honey on my throat. But believe it or not, I talk a lot, guys. I know it's hard to believe. And in St. Louis at the conference this past weekend, my voice started to go out in a hurry. And it's slowly coming back, but it's the time of year where all that kind of stuff's going around. I think I might have got a little of that too, and so it's on top of all the things to do here. We're getting ready to load the truck up and make a delivery to Mr. Ryan Taylor down in Tennessee. He's one of our first Endura Hive dealers, so we're taking some equipment down to him, and then we're going to go over and see Tim McCandless and maybe some other beekeepers near Nashville later on tomorrow night, and then circle right back here. And it's just I've said it a million times, but farmers pretend that winter is the time of winter rest, and I just I shouldn't have been a bee farmer, I guess. It's just this is the busy season, but so blessed, so thankful. God's been good to us. This community has been good to us, and it just can't thank Brian and Bruce and the whole community. Can't thank you guys enough for everything. So, man,
I'm looking at the comments here. We might have 100 comments already. I don't know, but we've got Grayson, we got Gary Stewart, we got 21st B in here. I don't know everybody's name, so if I don't say your name, if you don't use your name in your YouTube channel, I'll just say what's on here. We got Mike, Miss Beehiving, Mike. We've got a lot of names I don't recognize actually on here. Some new people I think we got coming in here. We got Bride Honey. We've got David Hunter. If I miss you, don't get mad at me. No Life Beekeeper Jonathan, Highland Honey. Golly, Keith Spillman's in here. Half Tracks and Honeybees. There's no way I can keep up with everybody. So I don't want
Bruce. There's folks from literally all over the world.
I'm telling you.
There's a Bee Haven. I'm pretty sure that's Ray Lynn, and I think she's from Newfoundland. She's living on an island with no varroa mites, and
way up there though.
So man, isn't there so many? I wish we could just shout everybody out, but there's just
there's no way. It's awesome. It's so much fun. I got James Noel on here. We got No Life Beekeeper Jonathan, and DC's on here. Man, DC is a faithful, loyal viewer. He's on our chat and all the others too. I think it's just he is a major part of this.
He's
live
everywhere.
Stream. Toby Reeder's on here from up north here, up in Ayrton, between up around Ayrton, just a little north of there, Brundage area, Alabama, not far from here. He was in my video with your boxes. The first one we did, the beekeeping community one. We got Glade Sessions on here. Man, just so many people. And if I don't shout you out, guys, please don't get upset with me. Redfish, a lot of familiar names, a lot of unfamiliar names I don't recognize. So this is awesome. We got Tennessee Tim on here. Be Amazing Highs. 4 C's Bees. We got, is that Tate? Tate's on here.
Yeah, little Tate's on here.
Oh, nice.
Tom and or Melissa are on here. I see via Honeybees. Anyway,
just saw them. Just saw it's guys, everybody, wanted to say hi to Bruce and Brian. They wanted to pass along hellos. We just saw Tom and Melissa in St. Louis, along with Mr. Clay Bunner. Had some great conversations, both on and off camera, with so many folks. If I can, I give a quick shout out to some of that St. Louis crew. You had Mr. J.W. Irwin, Brian Zavada came all the way from Colorado. Todd Prater came all the way from California. We had Matt at Sandy Valley. Who else did we have? I said JW, Todd, Clay, Tom, Melissa. Man, my brain is fried. I can see, like I told you guys when I saw you, names, I'm horrible. I can see your faces right now. But the names are escaping me. So many awesome folks who love the stream team. They love watching the videos, and guys, it's so cool to be in with such a tight knit group. Just incredible folks there.
I'm just going to say this. We just appreciate. I just put in here. Thanks everybody for being here. There's just no way we can name everyone. It's so cool. We already got 183 people in here, so we appreciate it. But Greg, we had a couple videos have dropped the last couple of weeks. I know last night the video for you. Was it last night? I think it was the video of you coming down your trip. The title of the video was, "Are these the best bee boxes?" Basically, and then I basically the owner or the founder makes his case, and so whenever you give Greg Burns an opportunity to make his case, he's going to make it. And
absolutely,
somebody said that Greg could sell snow, and then he in the comments jokingly he said he sold some snow. So it's kind of funny, but anyway. But yeah, and there are some people that frankly, don't believe in it, and that's fine. They don't have to buy those boxes.
Right.
One person was getting a little bit crazy in the comments, or a little bit negative in the comments. I said, look, I mean, you can go ahead and buy the cheap boxes. You can put them together. You can paint them and then replace them every 4 or 5 years at most. That's fine. Go ahead and do that. But I believe these boxes are really good. And I believe in the concept of first of all, the wax dipping, I think, is what Endura Hive represents. And then on top of that, you do have the Pura beehives, which alone, the Pura hives are just the quality of the boxes, guys. If you haven't seen them in person, they're just different than the typical finger joints that you get for bee boxes, and regular boxes work fine. That's most of what my operation is. I've got hundreds of them, but these Pura Hive, the principle behind them, what do you call that joint? It's a
blind dovetail. Way less ingrain exposed. Yeah.
It's just so beautiful. And the boxes, you can stand on them. I mean, they've stayed together. They're square and they're awesome. And then the other thing about them is, I did order the Propola more than anything else, Greg, to try it out. I want to see my bees see how they build the Propola in there and everything. And frankly, this cost is not that much more than the standard Pura hives. Right. I mean, it's a little more, but not much. And so I decided to just go ahead and go in the top tier, except they're not the top tier, because now you have the copper dip boxes, which is what I want, even more of those in the future. But I think I got enough for right now. So but we had a tremendous opportunity. We talked about last week, folks coming down here, and then the video dropped last night, and there's been a lot of real positive comments. Some folks have commented that they already have some and they're really pleased with them, and others would like to buy them and purchase them. So I think, I'm not sure if I put in the comments yet, but I will put in the description down below my link to that, and Greg, to your Nature's Image Farm, and folks can go on there and just look at what you have. I would also encourage you, if you have questions, to reach out to Greg. He's more than willing to explain it to you, why the difference in what type of wood they're made out of, and the difference between these boxes and others. There are hundreds of different kinds of bee boxes out there, and there are a lot of good bee boxes out there. This is not, Greg, I think you'd agree, there are a lot of really good quality bee boxes out there, but these, I think, are the standard. I think, I really do. I believe that. And so that's why I purchased a pallet of them.
Well, the video, you did a fantastic job in the video. And no one knows what it's like to be on the creation side of the video, but you literally had your camera up and you said, "Hey, Greg, you want to tell me about your boxes?" And so I said, "Sure." And so
what I originally said, Greg, was, "Why don't we take a minute or two and talk about your boxes?"
A minute or two, right? And then that's like, it's a 5 or 6 minute thing. But you know what's neat, you know, and what a lot of folks don't understand is like there's no scripted anything. There's no let's take 18 cuts and then put something together. Like Bruce asked me the question, and I get pumped up and I get amped up talking about these kind of things, and just let her rip right from the heart about it. And so, Bruce, I love how that video came together. You did a really nice job with that, and it's just such an enormous blessing to share what you love, what you're passionate about, and then when you know it's going to make a difference in the bee community. And let's be clear, let's go back to Old Testament Proverbs, right, where it clearly states that there is nothing new under the sun, right? Wax dipping has been done for a very long time. But there's new advances with what we can do with wax and how we can get that into the box. That does make a difference. There are new types of boxes out, different type of joinery, and we can do an even better job than has been done in the past. And that's where Endura Hive really shines, and that's where the type of boxes that we work with really shine, especially the boxes that you bought, Bruce, the Propola boxes. And I'm partial, but you show me a better constructed wood box than Premier's line of Propola and Pura. Show it to me. Because I've never seen one better than that. With the blind dovetails, those rascals are very strong, incredible integrity with the equipment, huge handholds, reinforced frame rests. Anyways, this is not a commercial, right? It's just, it's, and look, guys, let's be honest. Bees will do their thing in a cardboard box. They will do it in a fender of a 1957 Chevy. They'll do it in a soffit. They'll do it anywhere that they can, right? But having equipment that's going to last, that's an asset, that is a quality tool, that's what we're talking about, okay? If you want to go to Harbor Freight and buy a piece of equipment, that's totally fine, right? We're not saying you can't do that. But if you're looking for something that's a little bit more refined and higher quality, that's where we step in. We want to do this. We want to leave legacies behind with these bee boxes. We want the bee boxes that you can remember working those bees with your grandpa and have the story to go along with it. That's what we're about. We're in it for the long haul, for the long term, and that's where Endura Hive is built to endure. But anyways, Bruce, beautiful job with the video. A lot of great videos are coming out right now. And what I love about the video, Bruce, is, you know, here's how I always gauge whether we're doing something that's actually making a splash and making a difference. You're always going to have somebody. You're always going to have a troll under a bridge who wants to eat. He's hungry. Who's going to use it as an opportunity to throw their 2 cents in. And that's fine. That's totally cool. What I really appreciate is all the folks who are weighing in the comments on how much they love the boxes. They've got hands-on experience with them. Maybe they've even had them for years. That's awesome. And I really appreciate all that kind of support. But I'm going to save my voice, guys.
Before we I wanted to address, before we get off this topic, Greg, real quick, going to show a topic here. Maybe you could answer it. Do you do all the wax dipping for Premier, Pura, and Propola boxes? He said he got a great deal on boxes from Premier from Mr. Jeff Johnson. Do you do all the wax dipping for both companies?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's Premier is the company. They've got those 2 lines of boxes, Pura, which is the smooth inside wall boxes, and Propola is the same construction, but the inside of the box is textured to mimic a bee tree. All of those are provided by Premier, and we do all the wax dipping for Premier. We've got truckloads that come here. We dip them, we send them back. So we work very close and hand in hand with Premier on that.
Ryan, you had a question or a comment?
No, you know, I was just going to say, if things keep going the way that they're going up here, I'll be looking to, I can rent out some Endura Hive boxes. So when I pick up my little order that I have, you know, I might not even have bees left. So if anybody's looking to rent boxes, just keep watching, because I might be able to do that.
It's getting, guys, I'm sure we'll briefly touch on it tonight, but we are in the middle of another colony collapse, and we want to pretend everything's hunky-dory, but it is there are some serious things going on, and there's not a lot of answers. We just came back from that St. Louis conference. I got to talk with Corey Stevens, Bob Benny, Earl Hoffman, Slava, folks that are in the know, ears to the ground, pulse on the situation, and it's not good. And it's not. This is not just affecting commercial beekeepers west of the Rockies out in California. This is affecting reported right now, colonies all over the United States in different pockets of the country. There are some common denominators, but it's very challenging. I've got some great interviews with beekeepers from all over the country, getting their gut reaction on this thing, and it'll blow you away with some of the things that people think could be the culprit and what the path forward is. It's unbelievable right now.
Greg, does that affect the guys down south that make up packages? Because of now, I'm sure it affects it a little bit, but I know nothing about that whole process. So, and then, you know, we don't have to get into all of that, but the short answer of it, because we're saving your voice. Exactly. Do those guys somewhat just put a limit and say, okay, look, we're tapped out?
Yeah, a lot of the outfits that are producing bulk bees, they've got, for lack of better words, they've got their bees compartmentalized in a couple different ways. A lot of these guys are down in Georgia, where the bees are already brooding up in January, so they're not concerned with bees that are going to California and then coming back to shake out packages. A lot of growers, they're package growers, so they're growing bees down south during that time season, and so a lot of those got, like, any delays that we're even seeing with any of that is really only due to snow and cold that they received down there that just slowed brood back some, right? Not colony loss. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how this actually plays out. It gets to be very interesting, to say the least. I've got some suspicions and things, but we'll talk about that another time.
It's interesting because every year you hear about a significant percent of loss, and that's been that way for years and years. But this year it just seems like it's just kind of like double what it normally is. It just seems like it's ridiculous. And I personally, so far in my operation, I'm about where I normally, it's been about like usual for me as far as loss. So I haven't really noticed it in my operation yet, but I dang sure don't want to either. But anyway, before we move on with the topics a little bit here, and we may get more into that a little bit later. I do think, Greg, before I say this, I heard someone earlier on one of the commercial beekeeping forums talk about, or maybe it was, I don't know if it was commercial or if it was the Texas Friendly, but somewhere I saw someone make the comment, and I think it's probably wise to, there's a lot of speculation out there. There are a lot of people that are saying, of course this is what it is, or of course that's what it is, or
right.
if you just have mite resistant bees, or if you just did this, or if you didn't treat, or if you did treat, or if it's got to be the pesticides and the nematicides and all these things, and it may be a combination of all of them. But one person was very wise. Their wisdom, I think, showed through in their comment. They said, look, we don't know what's causing it. We don't know for sure. There's a lot of research going on. A lot of people are trying to look into it. So, of course, we can all speculate, but let's just kind of try to be patient and wait for the results of the studies to come out. And hopefully we can come up with a solution and help move forward. But I thought that was an interesting comment, and I do tend to agree with that. Like I say, in my situation, I think my loss has been about like normal. I'm noticing a fairly normal year. But I think some people, it's just been incredibly devastating, which is going to put pressure on, all the things, the pollination beekeepers, there's pressure on them. There's pressure on queen breeders. There's pressure on folks like you, Greg, that are trying to get packages and nukes, and there's pressure from all different angles. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens to the industry with bee loss. Will there be less honey? Will there be, increased prices in honey, or will they just bring in more honey from outside? They're already bringing in way too much anyway. So you just wonder, we're right at the beginning of this thing. And I think a similar thing happened, initially with tracheal mites, a similar thing happened. And then they had the hive beetles come in, and the varroa mites came in, and then they had the big colony collapse. When I first got in beekeeping about 11 or 12 years ago, colony collapse, we were kind of getting on the tail end of the quote unquote colony collapse disorder. And it almost sounds like, to me, what people are talking about and saying is going on with their bees sounds very similar to that colony collapse scare that we had, 15, 20 years ago. So
there's not an easy path through this. And let me be really clear. Like, this is not the time for grandstanding. There are a lot of folks who are, who don't have the confidence in their approach, and so they use opportunities like this to grandstand, to put their what they feel is their superior method out there as the solution. This is not the time for that. And here's the reason I say that. Nobody knows what's going on right now. And to be clear, to get right down to the heart of the big CCD of what was that, 2006, right?
Yeah.
To this day, after all of these decades of research and millions, if not billions of dollars poured into that to figure out what the culprit is, guess what the answer is? Guess what the culprit for that CCD pandemic was?
I don't know.
It's this. We don't know. We don't know. So I want to believe that we're going to get to the bottom of this, but if there's a really smart saying where what is it? Something like those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. We don't even know what caused. We don't even know the specific root causes for some of that initial CCD. And yeah, we think it might have been viruses, and there's pesticides and insecticides and all these things. But let me say this, and let's move on from this, because I'm going to get fired up, and it's not going to end well for me. I'm going to say stuff that I can't reel back in, and I'm trying to be better about that. But well, I'm going to be careful with that. We don't know what's going on, and we may never figure that out. But right now, we are living. I'll tell you what the problem is. If you go back to the video that we put out with Chris Werner, you talk about give you goosebumps and really cause you to take pause. Talked with Chris Werner 1 year ago, and Chris Werner made the direct correlation, the direct connection 1 year ago, is extremely foretelling. The connection between the bad state, the rough shape that we are in as beekeepers 1 year ago with trying to keep bees alive, and made the comparison with the parable of wheat and tare, that here we are with our bees and mites, and it's the same thing, right? The direct correlation that he drew that I've never heard anybody talk about, and I honestly think there's really something to it. But the struggle that we're having as bee farmers with honeybees is a direct result of the dysfunction that we see with humankind on Earth right now. Now, you can draw conclusions. We could talk all night long about that. That was 1 year ago he said that the problems that we have keeping bees alive is directly related to the dysfunction that we have as humankind here on Earth. That was 1 year ago. Let's look back on this year. Drought, famine, flood, fire, earthquakes. Could it get any worse? Honeybees are the greatest litmus test of the health of the soil and the ecosystem that we're in, and it is not looking good, guys. Don't get me fired up, but I will say this, and I'm going to leave it alone. It's time to get your house in order. It's time to start thinking about greater things than just what is in front of us. I'm going to leave it there for right now.
What I just heard out of all this, and I heard a lot, but what I heard that I'm going to do is I'm going to invest in some corn syrup, because the price of that, it's going to go up. It's going to be in demand because they're going to be cutting it, and there's profits to be made.
So good stuff, guys. Appreciate it. And I think there's a lot to think about there. And honestly, we're just at the very beginning of this thing, and we may never know. I do think that it's it's critically important that we do treat our bees as that we try to treat them as wise stewards to the bees, that we treat them like we should, and and that we take care of them, and we look after them, and we do the very best that we can. And I think if we do that, then we'll see success. Just don't quit, and if we don't, we got to pick up and try again, and just try to work through this thing. Obviously, it's on the radar now, and we just need to look into our own lives, Greg, like you said, and try to basically put our own houses in order, and then do the very best we can for the bees. And if we do the best we can, then there's no regret. Just do the best we can. So I did want to talk a little bit about what we got coming up. We are already almost 30 minutes into this thing, but the title of the video is Springtime Beekeeping Strategies and Instantvap Giveaway. So I don't know how many of you on here are familiar. I guess most of you are probably familiar with my channel. But back in December, before the Bee Expo, I did a video. Rob at Robbie's has a new vaporizer. It's the Instantvap Lite. And I have all three. I have the original Instantvap, I have the Instantvap Compact, and I have the Lite. And the Lite is designed more for a sideliner or a hobby beekeeper. The other two are more sideliner and up type. It's a little bit less expensive, but here it is right here. This is the actual unit that I used in the video that I did. It's a little bit dirty on the end. You can tell it's being used. It's kind of, it's a used Instantvap Lite. I probably used it, maybe put at most 10 rounds of OAV through it, maybe a little bit more than that. I was trying to shoot the video at the end and make it look cool. So I don't know. Anyway, it's brand new. Basically, it's just being used for one time, one treatment series at one bee yard when I was making that video. This is the exact one that I used in that video. So we're going to give this thing away later in the video. And to be honest, I'll just kind of let the cat out of that. Probably towards the end of the video, we're going to do that. Give plenty of people a chance to.
You're going to autograph it, right? You got to sign it.
I can. Yeah, I can do that. It's kind of hard. There's not a lot of flat areas on it, but it might look kind of weird, but I'll try to, I'll sign it if you want that. That sounds like a great idea, Greg. But anyway, that's for sale, or it's not for sale. It's for a giveaway here later in the video. Hashtag Vaporizer. Be sure you spell it right. And I asked Brian earlier if you put the hashtag in, if that holds through the whole video, and it does. And so, but you'll need to be on here to win the thing at the end. So, or whenever we decide to do it. I think
the more times you put the hashtag in, the better chances you have for winning.
Nope, it's just one time.
Yeah, it's just one time.
I don't know. You sure?
Yeah, it only counts one of them.
If you want to put it in multiple times,
if you want to put it in lots of times, it'll give me more comments. That'll be good.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys.
Bruce,
I would better be safe than sorry.
Thomas has a good question.
Okay, what's the battery? It is a DeWalt battery.
It's a DeWalt.
That's what you got to use on it. So that is something to remember. I didn't think about that.
Is there any other hand tool other than DeWalt?
Yes, there's
DeWalts and there's not DeWalts.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. For all you Milwaukee buffs out there, I'm just
get this thing for free. If you get this thing for free, you could maybe afford to buy a battery or two for it, and a charger. Or I don't know if there's a way to, if Rob has an adapter where you can change it out. I'm not sure. That might be not worth it to do that. So it is a DeWalt powered Instantvap Lite vaporizer. If you want to see how it works against the other two that he has, you can watch that video, and I'll try to remember to put that in the description below as well. Hopefully I will. Sometimes I'll forget to do that at the end. But so there's going to be two links in the description. I'm going to have Greg's for the nice boxes that he brought down here in my most recent video, and then I'm going to have Rob's for the Robbie's, and you can find the different Instantvap and all his products on there. So anyway, just wanted to let you know that, and we'll talk about a couple more times here throughout the video. Man,
that's a $350 prize, and you know what's great about that is that little rascal can run off those little smaller slim batteries. There's still enough juice in there to heat that rascal up and to get through 7-8 colonies, maybe even 10. That's a neat little unit.
That. Yeah, it has. I guess it has half the cords to it or something. It's not quite as powerful, and so I guess, or it doesn't require as much energy to run it. Apparently, it is a little bit slower as far as the heat up time on it. But boy, it's a powerful little machine, and it's heavy duty. It's very well built. I think you'll like it. Whoever wins this thing. So,
Greg,
hashtag Vaporizer, and we're going to see how many we end up with at the end of the video, and we're going to give this thing away.
Greg, you made an error there.
Only one? That's pretty good.
Well,
I make lots of errors, man.
Not the one.
You'll need to dial it in.
You need to dial that in. The error here, you said it was what, like a $350 unit?
I see where you're going with this. What is that actually appraised with the signature of the very one and only Bruce Jenny?
You have a jet setting Bruce Jenny that he flies all over the country going to ball games, running flags.
I'd say, gosh, what would the MSRP be on a Bruce Jenny signature series? Now, guys, you have to Bruce has held this in his hand. It's been in one of the very famous Bruce Jenny bee yards. It's been in contact with the essence of all things beautiful, Bruce's bees. Guys, How can you put a price on that? A signature? Maybe we even throw in a Stream Team sticker.
Hey, you know what this means.
Yes, sweat.
Dial it back.
I'm right on. Let's move on.
Yeah.
All right.
Dial it in.
It's gonna be the best vaporizer.
Best vaporizer ever.
So anyway,
$3,499.
Okay, guys. Hey,
it's those commercials. Hold on one second, Bruce. Have you seen have you heard those commercials on Fox News where it's Trump and he's the get the limited edition Trump watch and the Trump tennis shoes? Right now we're gonna get the Bruce Jenny vaporizer. The light that's never been seen.
Okay. All right.
Huge.
All right. So the topic tonight: springtime beekeeping strategies.
Is that what we're talking about? Okay.
Yes, sir. And we're already 30 minutes in.
It's gonna be huge. So. It's gonna be huge.
So
it's gonna be great.
I'll start off. With the springtime beekeeping strategies here. So springtime beekeeping strategies, and we are right there at it here in the South, right here in Alabama, Southeast Alabama. I am going to do splits in 2 days. And today I went to the UPS store, and what did I have? Queens.
Wow. There it is.
See them in there?
It's that time, guys. Welcome to the beginning of the season.
It's kind of hard to get queens this time of the year, but I got some from Heinzelman apiaries out in Hawaii. And Greg, when you were here, I haven't put the video up yet, but when you were here, you had the opportunity to go through some of my southern bees. I call them my south route, which they're all southern bees, but where I live in Dothan, I've got 2 different routes I run. I've got a southern route of bees, which is the Appin Farm, Slocum area. I include Honey Hill Farm in that, but they're not nice yet. And the southern route that we went to with you, Greg, a video will be coming out soon. Hopefully, if I can ever get the darn thing edited. That southern route, those bees overall, their attitude is much, much better than they've ever been before. But my northern route bees, I went through them a few days ago, and it's the opposite. They, if anything, I think overall might be worse than they've ever been on average. They were really bad. Now, this time of the year, they say, I know you watch Mike's videos and different videos from down here in the South, and the bees can be a little feisty here in Alabama, and over in Louisiana. But mine, I had, I think, 5 or 6 colonies in my northern route out of probably 40-ish, maybe 50-ish colonies that were just literally, wrist staple, ankle sock staple, just attacking my wrist and in my veil and just miserable. It was like 5 times worse than what we saw any of the bees doing down there on the southern route the other day, Greg. And so my goal, these queens right here are going to go towards splitting the bees in the south route and helping get rid of some of maybe those queens are a little bit feisty down there, maybe kind of improving the situation even more. And then I'm hoping to get some more, as soon as I can, get some more really nice, gentle reputation bees here. I'm going to really try to humble the bees in the north. They were off the chain, and it wasn't all of them. But, Greg, what we noticed that day, when 1 or 2 colonies are like that, then they begin to affect the others. It's almost like an infection that goes through the bee yard, and it gets really wild. It takes a while for them to calm down. They will eventually, but it takes a while for, if you go through a really nasty hive like that, a nasty colony like that, at least in my situation, and then you go to a nice colony next door, it gets them agitated too, because there are bees flying everywhere. They may not be as aggressively attacking you, but there's just still this whine, this shrill noise in the air. And it may take 5 or 6 or even 7 or even 10 colonies before you finally get to the point where they're calmed back down again. And so it's, but my goal this year, my number one goal this year, when I requeen, when I assess my colonies, it used to be colony strength. Now my number one assessment criteria is the attitude, and I've still got a lot of work to do. Jason Seward says, how do you find the nasty colony? Well, Jason, that's real easy. You just crack the lid open and they come after you. Yeah, you crack the lid. Now my bees, none of them, at least at this point, are attacking me before I crack them open. None of them get after me until I crack them open. But as soon as you crack that hive open, man, the bees come after you. These bees, you have to go. I don't know if Zach has any available now. Springtime is busy for him. I've just kind of happened to get my toe in the door last year. Just got a few from him, and so I've kind of gotten on his list. He has a limited supply of queens, but his Heinzelman apiaries in Hawaii on Facebook. That's the only way to get a hold of him is through Facebook. He doesn't have a website. You have to go on and it's Heinzelman apiaries or Zach Heinzelman, ZAK Heinzelman. And I don't know. And there's a minimum order as well. I think this is the minimum order. I got ordered 28. That's the minimum order. So you can't just get one or two from him. He sells to a lot of commercial queen breeders. And so he just can't do the individual small orders like that. But there are other sources out there. I'm not sure and I know there are going to be there are going to be some queens available with some of the queen breeders soon, but just usually we're about a month out from that still. And that, I think if someone could come up with a way to have good quality queens early in the year like this, they could sell all the queens they could make, because it's just such a demand right now, especially this year. Yeah, Brian's pointing at me, but I don't have the drones yet to be able to breed queens quite yet here in Alabama. They're coming. Greg saw some that were close or ready and mature, but we're not quite there yet. We're still a little ways away, and the weather's going to turn a little bit colder here in the next week or two. So, but that's what I'm doing. That's what my spring, that's kind of my number one strategy. Obviously, my number one strategy each year is to produce honey. But my beekeeping strategy this year, my number one goal is to calm the attitude down on the mean ones and to just make sure I've got good, healthy queens going into the summer, actually spring/summer honey production. I currently have around just over 100 colonies, I believe, that are viable. There's a few that are a little weak, but probably over 100 or so. And my goal is to get back up. I usually get up to about that 140, 150 range. And then every year I'll lose down to about 100 or so. And that's kind of what my goal is. And I mean, that sounds like a lot of loss, but it's worked for me. And I anticipate that loss. And I've kind of gotten into a little bit of a rhythm, a routine with that. And it seems to work pretty well. So, Brian, any tips on springtime beekeeping strategy, or kind of what are your goals this spring moving forward?
I tell you, this year's going to be something. Just, I need to rebuild. I got hit with losses. I think a lot of people have. I need to shift my focus a little bit away from where it usually is, and that's making honey. I need to still produce a little bit, though, because I've got markets that I do. So I want to keep that customer base there. But I need to shift it away and just focus on building. I just, with what is going on, and just to avoid that, I'm looking at it in that if I can get 20 to 25 colonies set up this year, if I do experience a 50% loss over a winter, it's not as harsh, but like right now, where I went into the winter with 8 and I've lost 3 already, I'm sitting at 5 colonies. That's tough. When you're in single digit numbers as far as colonies, you have very little wiggle room. So I've learned that in the last few years that I need to have more colonies so that I have more play. So that's going to be, I see on here #50 and that's going to be my goal for this year. I've got some colonies coming from Greg. I figure if those 5 make it through, and I've checked them, I was over there, 2-3 days ago, and just peeked, and those 5 are still there. They were eaten in the fondant, and I'm like, okay, make it another month or so, and then hopefully they'll grow and I can split each of those, make 10. And then I've got, I think, 6 packages coming. That'll be 16. And my plan for the packages, though, too, is once they fill out 8-9 frames in a 10 frame deep, they're going to get split. And that way I can take that from 16, my number, up to 22. So I need to build my numbers this year, just to protect myself. It's almost like right now I'm in kind of like you get into this, like it's fight or flight. It boils down to a fight or flight kind of response, and I need to fight. And to do that, I need to build my numbers. So, but that's my plan. I've been going over though each week, and now I didn't do it this week yet. I still have tomorrow, but I've been going over and cleaning. I've been cleaning frames that, if I look at it and the wax is just nasty, I'm scraping frames. I'm getting everything all set now, February, because when the season does get here, I think it's April 12th. I'm on the second rotation. So if weather does hold and I do get packages second week of April, I want everything set so that the day before I'm going to set boxes out. I'll still leave the frames in on the racks that I have, but I want everything set. I need to kind of change. One of the things I did last year, and it bit me in the rear a little bit, was I let too much trash build up. When I'm, and we all do that at times. I'm over there and you walk up into the building and you set it off to the side. But I've been cleaning up everything, and this year's going to be a better year. So, but we got to get through the winter though. Like you're talking about, you've got queens there next Monday, and Greg, you're going to get it too probably. Next Monday, I think we have a low in my area of 5. So our winter is far from being over.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's
one thing. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying it's tough, but this year I'm trying to keep a positive outlook.
Yeah, for sure.
But, we'll see.
One thing, Brian, I was thinking about is, with all the loss that we're hearing about, maybe what happened to you with losing the colonies you did it's not an outlier. It's more kind of what's been happening to a lot of people. So I guess you can kind of take some comfort in that to realize that you're not the only one that's going through this.
Yeah.
Greg, before we move on to you, I'd like for folks, I thought we could get the people in the comments involved a little more. Where the title of this video is Springtime Beekeeping Strategies. I've talked a little bit about what I'm looking at doing. Brian, you've talked about your goals for the spring and what you're going to do. I'd love for everyone in the comments to maybe list maybe their top 3 priorities or top 3 things they're going to focus on this spring. It can be anything. It can be splits. It can be swarms. It can be honey buildup. It can be whatever you think. Just put kind of your top 3 priorities, kind of things you're looking for. Things that you're going to be focused on this spring, or you could even put top 5 if you want. But I've talked about maybe focusing on attitude of my bees and then getting away from honey and make sure I have good, strong colonies. Brian's talked about growth. And so, Greg, what are kind of some of your thoughts, your spring strategies that are either the same or a little different than what you've done before?
Well, right now I'm looking at the W Underground 30-day forecast, and as I don't know if I can, let's see if we can share the screen.
Our forecast up here, Greg, when I looked at it, I was just like, you got to be kidding me.
Okay, can you guys see that?
Ryan, do you know how to share it? Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Okay, so when I'm looking in the rest of this month, so once you got enough experience under your belt, you look at the weather to kind of forecast, okay, what are we going to do and when? And if you guys, let's see if you can, I'm looking at the wrong, okay, yeah, you can see it, cool. So here we are I'm on the 12th. I'm looking at risk. Where is the rest of the risk for this year? And really, a lot of it is right in here, right into the, like what Brian said, mid to the end of next week are some of these colder temps, and 9 Fahrenheit's it's not horrible. It's 27 during the day, so it is getting cold. But if we can get them through next week, it looks like the weather is going to start to change. And what I love is I'm not seeing a call for a lot of precipitation, which is fantastic, at least for right now. If we go ahead and scroll out to March and take a look, we start to get into, and it's getting too far out to call for moisture. But when we get into here, when we get into March 9th and 10th, 11th, 12th, this is where everything starts to change and in a hurry. You're going to see spring is going to start showing up in a big way, probably right in here. you're going to start to see spring is going to start creeping in on us right here, 27, 28, and the 1st. When you get 3 consecutive days of soil surface temps that are in the 50s, that seems to be the catalyst where spring just doesn't turn back around. So we're going to be 46. Look at this, 47, 48, 48, 49. When you get into areas that if we have some direct sun on those, south-facing hillsides, that's going to start warming up. When we get into March 10th, 11th, 12th, look at this, guys. I mean, the highs are getting there. It's going to be full-on spring. It's going to start kicking in. The grass is going to start getting green. The trees are going to start pushing out in a big way. Maple season is nearly over. What's interesting about that is right now, let me get out of the screen here. Right now, my big indicators, my maples that are here, you guys have seen it right there where the milk parlor is next to the bank barn, that real big one kind of in the hillside there. She's already pushing out really fat buds. Like there's buds all over these maples. They're already just waiting, right? As soon as we get a few more of those warm days, they're going to start opening. It's not going to bloom by Valentine's Day. We're probably going to be 10 days behind that. So I think by the end of this month and February here, I would say maybe between February 21st and 24th or so, I wouldn't be surprised if it starts to open. Once the maples open and start to bloom, it's going to just set everything in action, and there's no turning back. Yeah, we might have some cold snaps, but those maple blooms they're a little bit stout. They can handle some of that. So my spring strategy this year is it's hard for me to solidify where I want to go in the spring until we figure out what went wrong still. We have suffered some loss here too. And the pattern that I'm seeing for loss is in anything that was getting blasted by direct western wind and northwestern wind, those were all goners. We've got colonies that were on 4-way pallets that what received the wind, they're done, they're dead. But everything on the other side of those, they're still hanging on. So that tells me there's a lot of things going on here. But when we had 6-7 days in a row of -5 to -29, when we had 30 and 40 degrees sustained winds, doesn't matter what you put. We had colonies and apimays also die in those scenarios. So an insulated hive didn't save it. What saved it was just colonies that were out of the wind. And out here where we're at, it's really hard to provide that unless we move everybody down by the pond. So my goal this year is I'm going to start thinking about winter a lot differently. I'm considering bringing some colonies down south this coming year, just as an insurance policy. If we don't do that, then we have to make sure that everything that's here is in the most secure place. I think a lot of folks are going to start thinking about beekeeping like the Canadians do, or folks out west, putting them in at least buildings that are 3-sided machine sheds, something to help buffer that wind. This is not just a viral issue. This is not just we had severe cold and severe wind exposure for a very long time here that came right after the worst drought in our state's recorded history. And what that means is the actual pollen and nectar that was available from Father's Day on, in my opinion, was probably very poor nutritionally. So the only thing keeping the bees alive is likely supplements and whatever they could actually pull and get from all of those things. I think our bees were in stress modes that we probably have never seen. And even though we had very low mite counts, I think if there were new viruses, if there were some viruses that would affect bees, that if their nutrition wasn't up, I am not so sure that the bees were able to actually build up that winter storage mechanism within themselves I don't know that they were able to do that as well as they had in the past because of the lack of nutrition, natural nutrition that was out there. So I think there are so many things going on. So what does that mean for me in the spring? I mean, we got to rebuild some too. We're going to be a little more conservative on the number of nukes that we let go. And I think what it's going to do is, I actually had a great talk with Brian Zavada about this. You know, what do you do? How do you buffer your operation and your management plan, knowing that folks around the country are taking losses, that you're not out of the woods yet? How do you tailor your business plan accordingly? And I think for us, we just have to be smart about it. We have to leave ourselves enough buffer that we can adapt, we can improvise, we have some flexibility. But what I'm really looking forward to is, even if we can't go as fast and hard and as strong as we want to this year with growth, I'm actually maybe looking forward to not feeling like I got to grow so much, that I can put my attention and efforts into things that I really love and I'm really passionate about, which is queen rearing and spending the time with the equipment that's behind me, spend more time with artificial insemination, spend more time with our queen breeding program, and spend less time out there chasing honey supers, spend less time out there chasing splits and chasing nukes. You know, do the things that we really love to do. So John Lawler said he's going to switch to raising alpacas. Can you imagine that though? Imagine that for a second, John. Like, now I know he's joking, but this is the last thing I'll say. It was bad for bee farmers, guys, but it was also horrific for beef farmers this year in the area. A lot of folks were looking for hay, I mean, all over the country, trying to bring hay in because we got no rain. There was no pasture. And unless you were sitting on an enormous amounts of stockpile hay or stockpile pasture, I mean, folks were selling off herds left and right. God forbid if you were in the dairy industry and had actually pastured dairy. It's not good. We're all looking forward to getting past this year. So Bruce, the short answer is, I'm just going to try to dig in and try to go from survive mode to thrive mode, be a little bit more conservative with some of our growth, and then try to think about some contingency plans and ways that we can buffer moving forward. It's bee farming though. What are you going to do? There's ups, there's downs.
Right. Well, it's so dependent on the weather and the environment and all the stuff going on around. I mean, even if you have cattle or pigs or some sort of a farm animal, you can control their environment a little bit. You can't control the rain, but the bees just fly wherever they go. You can't make them go, you know, they're going to go wherever they're going to go. And in those drought or dearth periods, or when it's warm in the winter or the conditions are kind of rough, they're going to fly a couple miles away to try and find stuff, burn up all their energy, and they're going to be exposed to who knows what. And so it's similar but different. It is farming, but the bees, you really can't control what they do, what they get into and stuff. And so it's really hard to kind of figure out. I don't know, like you said, if we ever will. But I think, Greg, your strategy, both of you guys' strategy is really good. And I'm doing the same thing. Just see what you come out of spring with. Then you got to just kind of, you know, scratch it out, write it out, think about it, ponder on it, and then just kind of try to move forward. You got to make a contingency plan and move forward with what you end up with. And so that's great. Yeah. I do appreciate everyone in the comments here. There have been some really neat comments of what your goals are for the year. Some people are going to rebuild. Some people are going to expand a certain number. Some people are going to focus on different things. And it's really cool to see what everybody's plans are. I know that this is one thing that's really cool about beekeeping. It probably is every business as well, but in beekeeping, you know, every beekeeper has different goals. Like personally, my favorite thing, what my goal is really the honey. That's how I kind of make my money with my sideliner business, is primarily with honey. Of course, I do sell some wax and some different things, some different products as well, but honey is my primary business income, and I am doing it as a business as well as a hobby. It's just I love it, you know, and so that's what I do. But some people everybody's got different goals. I know some people, honey house is the goal. Some people it's getting organized. Some people it's learning how to rear queens. And some people will list 4 or 5 different things. And so I really appreciate y'all putting those comments in there. That's really interesting for us and for everyone else to see what everyone's interested in. So we appreciate that. Let's see, Brian, I wanted to kind of shift gears here a little bit.
What's up?
I know we talked about my video that I put out with Greg's boxes at the beginning of the video.
Yeah.
So I'd encourage folks to go and watch that. I'll try and maybe if I could put a card up here, I will. I'm not sure if I can on the live stream after it's over. I may try to put some in the description, but I did a video. My most recent video that dropped was Greg. He was down here in Alabama. For those who may be new to the chat or weren't here last week. And he delivered a bunch of Endura Hive boxes, both to me and other people in Alabama and Louisiana and Mississippi. He brought them to my mom's farm, and they all came, and we had a great time. The next morning, we went to the farm, and I was trying to wrap up the first video with all the people, and I said, Greg, can you take a minute or two and explain your boxes? And he took that, and I ended up with a 16-minute video out of it. So anyway, that's a standalone video of him making the case for the Endura Hive boxes, and he does a really great job. We actually pulled out an old rotten box that I had that has put in a lot of good use. I'm not sure how many years. I'm guessing that box is probably four, maybe 3, 4, at most 5 years old. And then we had an older wax dip box that a friend of mine and myself dipped, and showed the difference between that. And then Greg explained the difference between, using the microcrystalline paraffin mix and then just microcrystalline. So I'd encourage you to go back to my channel here at Bruce's Bees and watch that video. But Brian, you also put out a video today that's doing quite well. Very interesting. I've never really thought about doing this, but just kind of make a case for your video that you put out today. It's really good. And I'd encourage everyone to go to Castle Hives, Brian, and watch his video that he put out on a warming cabinet that he came up with.
I can't even say where I got the idea, just because, well, to back up, I've been wanting one just because where I'm at and with what I harvest, it's always like, there's always that, it's a fine line on when you want to bottle, because you don't want to bottle too much, because then if it doesn't sell at the market, then it's going to sit and it's going to start to crystallize, and people are not going to buy honey that's crystallized in a squeeze bottle. They're just not. So I always had that little fine line where, how much do I bottle? And then I went and I cut the racks out of a dehydrator and would, put 16 bottles in that thing, run it at 95 to 100. And I'm like, I just look like an idiot sitting there with a dehydrator, melting down honey. So I got thinking about it, and like, I've seen some on the market, and they're pricey. I just, for where I'm at now and with what losses I've had, I'm like, can I afford to spend $600 or $700 on a warming cabinet? No. So I know a lot of people, and I've seen videos where people use like old refrigerators, but I thought, well, I want one that's more portable. So I just went and got a sheet of Luan and cut it so that it was 18 by 18 square. And I got the 1-inch square posts and cut those just for the framing and put some shelves and that on it. And then I used 1-inch thick insulation. It's that styrofoam insulation, and cut that. And I got the HVAC taping, the silver taping, just to snug everything all up. And that was like the main bulk of it, the framing of it. And then I've seen people do this. I've seen people use reptile ceramic lamps as a heating element. And it's not like an old style light, so it's not projecting. I had a couple people say, when I was just posting pictures of the build, that's a lot of wood in there, Brian, you're going to have a little fire. And it doesn't project off. Like, I can hold my hand up on the shelf that I have above it, and it does not get hot. It's more of just, it emits it off. So what I did was I got, like Drew Jobber said, 200 watt bulb. Mine, it's 150 watt ceramic reptile lamp. And then I got an Inkbird controller, and that thing, I mean, I put it together, and it has literally been flawless. I had all the honey that people have given me for the last, 2-3 years. I still have all of it sitting here. And 90% of the bottles that I used to have on the windowsills and that, they're all crystallized. And I'm going to start enjoying some of that honey. So if anybody's giving me honey, I'm going to start enjoying some of that. But I've literally all of those jars, they're all in the warming cabinet, and even like ones from yours, and they're all back to normal. So it's worked great. And how I set mine up was the top 2 shelves on it. You can also use it to incubate queens. That'd be a lot of queens, Gary. The top 2 shelves on it, and you can pretty much, I don't give, like when I do those videos, I don't give very specific details. Like I go through what wood, things like that, the hardware that I used. But this is where I just tell people, do your own thing. Yeah. I wanted 2 shelves on the top where they're 7.5 inches. So they fit 1-pound jars perfectly. And then below that, I have a 10-inch shelf. That way I can fit like taller Muth jars or 2-pounders or whatever it is. So you can build it really however you want. But that unit works. I mean, it's fantastic. The legs I did on it, they were all 3D printed. So, you know,
Brian, why don't you pull it up and just show them the thumbnail? And folks, I'd encourage everyone to go watch it. It's a really well done video, and it's a beautiful cabinet little thing he made there, and I think it works extremely well. So I would have just probably bought a freezer and hung a light bulb in. It's what I would have done. But I'm just not. I usually just, what I told Brian was that I typically just bottle my honey up. I've got a bottling tank that's warmed, and I'd kind of bottle it up on demand. But with the bottling tank with a heating unit like that, you can just get your stocked up and put it at a temperature that's safe for the honey, and then you can just have it ready to go. And that's awesome, man. But
it'll fit. I don't know how the heck to get the. You'd think I would know how to do this.
Yeah.
How can I pull just the thumbnail?
Well, you could just put the show that you can pull up YouTube and just show a picture of it. You got it?
Is Brian asking for tech help?
It's that video right there.
Yeah.
And it the thing, I mean, as far as like the door on it, I had bought hinges. I bought hardware, you know, the little slide locks and all that stuff. And I got sitting there and I'm looking at it. I'm like, why don't I just use tape? So I used the same exact HVAC tape. I ran like 5 strips down it. And then I got some of my packing tape and ran a strip of that down over that and just taped the whole seam. And that thing, I've got command strip hooks with rubber bands, and it holds it tight. And like I'll sit, you know, because I work up here during the day, and I'll watch the temperature on it. I found out that I have it set at 103 right now, and that's about a good range. It'll hold that temp pretty consistent. With the Inkbird unit, I have it so that there's a 5-degree buffer. So from the 103 where it's at, when it dips down to 98, it kicks on. And with that 150-watt bulb, it heats up pretty quick. So, and there is a fan in it. It's a 120-millimeter fan that I put inside of it as a controller. And that bugger, it's got a little speed dial on it. And when you put that on high, I mean, it blows some air. So a couple people said they found, like in comments, they found that the fan inside of theirs really didn't help that much. This thing here, oh yeah, this fan, it blows some air.
Hey, Greg. Greg.
Hey, Bruce.
Brian loves this stuff, doesn't he?
Brian's so good.
He's always
I can't stop asking myself. I'm asking myself a question in my side of my head. I'm lost here. And I am hopped up on Mucinex and Advil, so it could have something to do with that. But Brian, let me ask you something.
What's up?
Is a hingeless hinge still considered a hinge if you're not using a hinge?
It is a 30-inch hinge.
So it's still technically a hinge, although
exactly
a mechanical hinge is the tape instead of a hinge.
But I'll tell you what I did. And this
is
comes
turning into Cheech and Chong real quick.
Right there.
Brian, is it all dialed in?
It's dialed in. Yeah. That thing, though, the unit, how I have it.
Uh-oh. Coach is giving us a warning here. He's pulling out the dial.
It'll probably hold, no lie, 90 to 100 jars of honey.
Nice.
So, yeah, I mean,
I'm looking forward to seeing that video. That's pretty cool. You always do good woodworking stuff there.
I'd encourage everyone to go watch it because Brian does a great job. It's not a really long video, but it's very good.
Piano
very good,
hinge.
So
there we go. It's dialed in. Dialed hinge. Look at that. I dialed it in.
So awesome
nice
stuff,
job. Brian. Nice job.
Well, hey, why don't we address some questions here, and then we might actually do the big
giveaway.
So, I'm playing with an idea of something else too, but I don't know if I'm going to do it or not.
Is it the idea of you signing that with Bruce's bodacious?
No, I'm not going to do that. I promise that won't happen.
Bruce. Oh man, come on.
That won't happen. But however,
come on,
Bruce,
hashtag bodacious Bruce and the hash. Come on, guys. If you want Bruce to sign that bodacious Bruce, hashtag.
Yeah, he has been in here. I'm not sure if he's still in
here. No,
Brian
Lee is in here. You need to let Brian Lee have that for a day, and he can laser engrave on there Bruce's bodacious bod.
I gotta be careful with that guy I get a hold of.
How cool was the light show with that Cybertruck at Bruce's place? How cool was that thing, man?
If you guys haven't seen that video, that was a couple videos ago. I did a reel on Instagram, Facebook, and then a full length video. And towards the end of it, Brian Lee had his Cybertruck there. He bought a pallet of boxes. Came down from Birmingham, bought a pallet of boxes, and he put on a show for us. That was a lot of fun. Why don't we just run through some of these comments that we started here? We got a few, and if we missed your question, we're sorry, but let's just start off here. Sam Mixon says colony collapse disorder is back. It happens again, and the bird flu was present back then. Let's see. I'm not sure. Is he trying to say, I guess, the bird flu used to be back and it's coming back? So things just kind of go around in circles, I guess. We have something that comes for a while and then it goes away or decreases and then comes back, I think is what he's trying to say.
Well, or is there a significance? Not that maybe the bees are getting bird flu, but maybe the thing that triggers bird flu, maybe it's also triggering some other dysfunction.
Yeah. It's happy to get out. So maybe that's true. I don't know. I don't know if there's any relationship. Maybe it has, like you say, maybe something to do with what's going on in the environment.
Well, Jason Chrisman had a video today, and he dug down the rabbit hole as far as the Google rabbit hole, and I checked it out also. I thought, what? It kind of blew my mind, but honeybees can actually pick up the bird flu.
Okay, maybe that's where Sam got that information then.
Yeah.
What if my birds don't have bird flu, but my bees have bird flu? What if my birds get the bird flu from my bees?
Then would it be bee flu?
Then would it be my bird? See, here's the thing though. Okay, so here's just hillbilly science. My flock, we've got turkeys, ducks, and chickens all together. Right here, they're fine. I lost one duck in the cold spell, but everything else, all those rascals made it through. So in my area, like, let's just say, we don't have time to go down this rabbit hole, but let's just say there's some fancy things about correlations or causation is not correlation or something of that. I don't know. But if my birds are doing good, but the bees aren't, I wonder how bird flu may or may not play into that. I don't know. Things that make you go,
That'd be a question for a virologist that works in the beekeeping industry.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to be getting a lot more information. Really didn't hear a lot about this until the last couple of weeks, honestly. But I've seen all kinds of stuff the last couple of weeks. Let's move on to Jason Egan has a question for you, Greg. Any chance we can get some walnut colored wax dipped 5 or 6 frame nukes? They look so good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Matter of fact, we do that. We do, of course, we do all the other stuff when wax dip. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. One thing that we're not going to do is overpromise and underdeliver. The copper infusion aspect of what we do requires some extra steps and some extra time, but that is definitely something that we can consider doing in the future. Right now, it's going to be pretty much limited to Propola and Pura 10 frame boxes. We're going to try to focus on getting some lids and bottoms also copper infused, but right now we're going to be focusing on kind of the higher end, top notch product, which would be the 10 frame Pura and Propola for now. But Jason, we will definitely keep that in mind, and in the future, as long as it keeps growing and is as popular as it seems, and we'll keep moving in that direction.
Awesome.
Was that a short answer, Bruce? That was a short answer. Everyone's telling me how short of an answer that was.
You did excellent.
That's a great answer. Great. That was awesome.
It's huge.
All right, here's a good question for you as well. This Highland Honey says they're needing 8 frame boxes. Do you have the various kinds of boxes available in 8 frames?
We do. We carry 8 frame and got them in the Endura Hive wax tipped. Absolutely. So shoot us a message. Best way to get me, go to our website, naturesimagefarm.com, hit the about us or contact, and there's a little contact tab. You can hit that, shoot us an email, and yeah, we can talk.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see here.
Bruce, I just looked a minute ago, and we have had it cracked 300 viewers on here tonight. So I just want to quickly just shout out and say thanks for everybody for tuning in and just listening to us three ramble on about bigly bee things. It's huge.
Okay.
Huge.
This is, I think, a really important question, and I can address this because I actually did this back in the fall. And Nancy Lawson says, how do oxalic acid and Apigard interact? I did an OA dribble and want to do Apigard if it wasn't, I guess, if it wouldn't damage, if they didn't interact, if it wasn't bad. So I did not do the dribble. I've never done an OA dribble, so I don't know how to answer that question. I will tell you that Mike Berry did OAV and Apigard like within a few minutes of each other. And on his channel, he's got a video of where he feels like that messed up one of his colonies pretty bad. It may have even killed the colony. However, what I did in the fall, which this is a how I do, not a how-to video, to borrow Mike Berry's line. It's funny because one time back a couple months ago, I guess I said, this is how I do it. And Mike, he kind of called me out and he's like, you used my line. So anyway, Mike, I'm sorry. But yeah, this is how I did it. This is a how I did video. I actually had a really bad mite infestation back in, I think it was late September-ish, somewhere in the fall, early fall sometime. And I had some tubs of Apigard, and my goal was to use Apigard. Now, on that particular day, it was cool enough to use a full dose of Apigard, so I did. And then I came along a week later, and I used hit them hard with OAV, but they had a week in between. And so the Apigard had I guess the smell or the vapor had worn off, and then I used that. Then I came back and it was warm again, so I used a half a dose of Apigard 2 weeks in a row. And using that strategy, it absolutely annihilated the mites. Now, I don't know if the Apigard did it by itself or if the OAV really helped with that situation, but my bees looked incredibly strong after that. One of the colonies had like 75 mites in it, and that colony didn't make it, but the rest of my colonies had that came through that thing, had really good results. The mites were just knocked way back. And so I don't know. I've never used oxalic acid dribble. I would be careful, I think, about putting those two products in the colony at the same time. I just would be careful about that. I don't know that it would be a problem, but personally, I don't know if I want to go right in and do a dribble and then come right in there and slap Apigard down the same day. I don't think I want to do that. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Brian, do you have any thoughts on the matter?
I've never done the dribble, so I would have no idea. I don't know what the half-life is with OA dribble.
Yeah, Mike says do the OA first. It dissipates more quickly. I don't know. He's probably talking about vapor, but if it's dribble, that kind of makes sense. I don't think I'd just stick them all in the colony at the same time. I think that would be, it might be fine, but I think that would be a lot on the bees. Might be too much. So
I've heard that to react. I've heard that there is some type of reaction. I don't know exactly what, but like the OA dribble, I don't know the half-life. So I don't know what type of buffer, because I know like there's that time frame where you'll still have an active treatment in the colony. So
yeah, I don't know.
My question though too that I would have is to throw, I mean, that's like throwing everything in the kitchen sink. I would want to, if I'm using treatment, and I've learned this in recent years, check the effectiveness of the one treatment. If you're using treatments, do your mite wash and then check afterwards. If you have to do the other, if your counts are low, that's what I always do now in between. Do your washes too.
I think the question becomes, how does OA and Apogard interact? The question is, why do we have both going on here at the same time?
Yeah.
And I know of a specific reason where we had that going on, and that was we had such a bad infestation. We wanted to knock down the phoretic right out of the gate. So we did OA first, and then we put the Apogard on. That was a good path forward. But what I would likely caution folks on, and I can't caution folks because I have experience like this. I think Bruce just mentioned Mike Berry had a bad result. We just came back from the EMBA conference where Bob Benny gave a couple talks, one of which was the synergistic reactions in comb, and one of the concerns definitely is having Apogard, the heavy thymol, in the wax at the time of giving an OA treatment. Can have some negative synergies. So I think if you want more information on that, I would go see one of Bob's videos. Cameron Jack says I wouldn't pause both at the same time, but using one as a cleanup treatment could work. He wouldn't use both at the same time is probably what that says, but using one as a cleanup treatment could work well. Yeah, and I think that's what most folks do is they'll go in and hit with OA vapor just to get a quick knockdown and then put on that extended format, which would be the Apogard, to just to clean up long term. And to me, that makes a lot of sense. If we can knock down the phoretics, even if it's 30% or 25%, knock down the phoretic mites, that's just that many more instances that we're reducing the potential for mites to transmit viruses. So if we can knock that back by, 20%, 30%, that's huge. And then let Apogard do the rest of the work. I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, awesome. Great to have Cameron in here tonight. Cameron, for those who don't know, he's a big time researcher down at the University of Florida, and he's spoken at the Bee Expo and different events. And so we actually had him. Greg, actually, I think there was an interview with him on his channel over at Nature's Image Farm from last year at the Bee Expo. It was just phenomenal. Just a great guy. And just
very
awesome.
Smart.
Thanks for being in here. Thanks for your comment, Cameron. Those research guys are
very funny too. But he's I know he's listening, and so I don't want him to get a too big of a head there because no one's going to be there to pop it. But you get a lot of these guys who are just rusty dusty PhDs, and they just go on and on and on, and I don't mean anything by it, right? But they take what they do just a little too seriously. Like they just don't. They're of a personality. They don't have a mechanism for a back and forth conversation. What is awesome about Cameron Jack is I would say, as smart as he is when it comes to smart stuff, he is equally funny and sarcastic, and I love that. Right? So
knows how to read the room.
You can read. He reads the. Bruce, well said, Bruce. He can read the room. He can have a good time. He can joke around and cut up, and then he can get right down to the brass tacks.
Yep.
Good guy.
Awesome. Thanks.
Good stuff.
Let's go ahead and next comment we have Travis at Easy Ox, or Mike, I guess. You guys need bigger bags of OA. I bought 2 more from Greg this week. I just think Mike actually answered that earlier in the comments that I think they're coming out with a 5-pound bag of Easy Ox, if I'm not mistaken. And one thing, if you're still on here, Travis, I think it'd be kind of cool if you could, I'd even buy it in bigger buckets or bags. Buckets.
You want like a tote? You want like an 800-pound tote of it?
No, I don't need that much.
Come on, Bruce.
I would buy a reasonably sized tote, but that Easy Ox. Oh, by the way, let me do this.
Oh, look at this guy. Is he gonna do it? Oh, look at this. Look at this. Look at that.
Looks like one of those giant hat things.
Would you look at that?
Easy Ox. I love. That's one of my favorite logos in the world.
Would you look at that? Logo. No bull, mic control.
Anyway, I always just.
It will be a pail. Look at that.
I'm gonna be like Fred Dunn here. I'm just pulling stuff out of my.
Look at that.
But this is the Easy Ox stuff. And I'll just be honest with everybody on here. I didn't believe in the stuff. Didn't believe in it. I just bought the stuff from Florida Laboratories. Thought, hey, it's 99 point whatever %. It's got to be fine. I used it to treat my bees for years. That's mostly what I've used. It's not approved, but it's way cheaper, I thought. Well, this stuff is actually quite affordable. This is enough to treat. It's 400 grams. So it'll treat, my colonies. If I go through all my colonies, it'll treat them all once. If I go 4 grams per colony or whatever, it's so. I really needed a bigger dose, and it's much more affordable than the other stuff that's approved. And after I talked to Mike, and one of these days I'm going to do a segment that I did at the Bee Expo where I interviewed him, kind of like what I did with Greg the other day with his boxes. He explained a lot of what he went through to be able to create that product and to make sure that it's pure and all the process. They did sift it through this thing to make sure it's pure and it doesn't have chunks in it. And anyway, they go to great lengths to make sure it's legal, make sure everything is in order, and to make sure it's as pure as it can possibly be. So I'm kind of going to be loyal to him, I think, and continue to use this product. And I appreciate him going to the effort, him and his family to do that. So I'd recommend you check out Easy Ox. You can go to Mike's at Mike's Bees, or you can get it from Greg. You can get it from Rob at LaRobbie's. You can get it from so many different places, but it is I think it's a tremendous product. I've used it and I like it. Brian, thanks so much for the super chat. $20. As you know, that really helps out the channel, and really appreciate it.
Secret. Look at the hieroglyphs in there. I'm a win, Yappy, not you. Brian's in it to win it.
Thanks, man. Let's see. We got Bees in the Abyss. You guys are great. Thanks for everything. Thanks so much, Bees in the Abyss, for being here tonight and for being a part of this great community, best community in the world. I think I love this community that we have. Let's hit another question. Or let's see. Going into my first year, thank you for all the videos. That's Dan Offenberger. Thanks so much, Dan. I think all of our channels, and there's so many more on YouTube that have a lot of good information out there, and you got to kind of wade through the information out there on YouTube, and then hopefully you can find a local person as well that can help you work through your individual problems, because YouTube is good. There's a lot of good advice. There's some that's a little bit, you got to kind of weigh it out and figure it out and try things. But if you can find a local person who's successful at keeping bees alive, that'll help you as well. So that's just a little tip I'd have for you there. Charles Harris. Oh, here we go, Greg. When can we get gold infused boxes? Forget copper. Let's infuse them with gold.
Shh, that's the next big release. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge.
Greg,
get your Trump gold boxes.
Greg, how did he hear about that? How did Charles hear about that?
He probably heard that on the Fox News Network. We got Trump slinging the Endura Hive boxes now too. It's Trump
meteorite infused boxes.
I guess.
Like Chris Medeiros, like Chris Medeiros very elegantly commented before. Leave it to Greg to tackle the two taboos all at once: religion, politics. Bam, dialing it in. Here we go.
So for those who don't know. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you what whenever I hold this up, or if it holds this up, if we're getting off topic a little bit, if any of you are ever in Boy Scouts, I don't know if they're doing Girl Scouts or not, but here's a Scout symbol. When that goes up, it means everyone needs to get in order. So we decided that if one of us does this, that means we need to dial it in.
No, we didn't. No, Bruce decided. Decided he needed a way to shut us up.
I kind of like that it's like a product plug.
I mean, just throw it up there, but we can't have this thing become a negative connotation, Bruce. That just would be.
It's not
unbecoming of a gentleman.
It's not negative. It's not negative. It's just it's got a lot of power.
Hold that up.
All right, let's go on to the next.
Come on,
Greg. Speaking of Greg, no paint, no rot, no hassle. Endura Hive, built to endure. Little shameless plug there. Go watch the video that I put up recently if you want to find out more about the Endura Hive boxes. They're incredible. I'm glad to have a bunch of them, and We're gonna give it a try. Let's see how they do. I'm sure they'll be fine. Let me see. Get rid of this. All right, we have a question here from. I have two. Work incubator, digital Sportman incubators, double duty warming cabinet incubator. Okay, I guess he put that on there when we were talking about the warming cabinet. Yeah, there's so many ways to do stuff, guys. I am not an inventor. I'm not someone like I might build one like Brian built, or I might pay him to build me one. But to just think of that myself, I would never have thought of that myself. I would have never ever thought about it, and I just But I do think, Brian, I mentioned to you that it would be great to be able to bottle up quite a few at a time and just have them ready to go. So that's an awesome idea.
Yeah.
Because right now, for example, I have an order, and it's a decent sized order, but I was out of honey at my house. I had to go up to the farm and get some buckets of honey, put it in the bottling tank, and I forgot to turn the temperature up warm enough to actually decrystallize the honey. And so I was before the chat, I was going to bottle some honey up, but it wasn't decrystallized. I turned it up a little bit this morning, but it wasn't enough. And so now I've got it up about to where it needs to be to decrystallize that honey. All right. Good deal.
Don't forget #Vaporizer to get on the big Bodacious Bruce giveaway. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be great.
We're coming up on the giveaway here. So yeah,
we're coming up.
#Vaporizer. This is the prize.
Look at that thing.
I'm going to encourage everyone to stick around because I've been formulating. I've been simmering in my brain now for most of the chat here. There might just be a surprise giveaway after the Vaporizer. That's going to be really, really cool. At least I think it's going to be cool. And Greg, you'll think it's cool. Brian, I think you will too. But
will it be an Alabama hat signed by Bruce?
No, it won't be an Alabama hat.
It'll be even cooler than that?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my gosh.
We'll find out. Anyway, so.
Got any other questions we need to get to here, Bruce?
Yeah, we got a couple more quick questions here. Clay Boner, thanks so much for the
Shout
super
out to
sticker.
Clay.
Thanks, Clay. Appreciate that, man. It really helps.
Hey, Clay, check the bottom of your Nature's Image Farm bag. Let's just say I didn't want to tell you about it, but I wanted to make sure this year you get it dialed in, brother.
Dialed in. All right. This is from Old 40s Bees, Steve and James. When is the Nature's Image Farm shop opening up this year?
Great question. Right now we are still in the conference shuffle. We've got a couple more places that we're traveling. We've got guys, nothing says romance like getting away with your wife to St. Louis and for her to ask you and say, hey, this was so romantic. What are we going to do special for my birthday? And you say, I've got a great idea. How do you feel about going to yet another bee conference on your birthday? Guys, I really know how to dial it in. So March 1st is the queen bee's birthday. I won't tell you how old she really is. You won't believe it. It's 27. She turns 27 this March the 1st, and we will be celebrating so romantically in Wooster, Ohio, at the Tri-County Beekeepers Workshop.
March 1st?
I think. That's what I've been teasing her with. And now she doesn't know this yet. It is, yeah, Tri-County Spring Conference. Now, guys, I've told her, I said, honey, I've got something really romantic, really special in mind. Wait till we show up and start loading in for a bee conference.
Tri-County.
It's in Wooster. Yeah, anyways, I digress. See, what I was saying is once we get back from that conference, that following Saturday, we're going to be rolling back into regular store hours and coffee and shenanigans and sit downs, and looking forward to seeing my buddy Steve back in the shop here. Anyways. Somebody said they missed, can you bring back loose cannon, Greg? Missed that guy. It's starting to get a little zany around here, a little wacky. Just watch out.
It's going to happen. Trust me, it's going to happen. But that's cool. We love it. That's we've grown on those kind of comments. Listen, we're getting down to the end of these comments here. If you've had more questions after these, maybe we can get them next time. But it says, is there a bug that eats varroa? This is from NYK Honeybees.
Great question.
Thanks for the super chat. Has this been studied? Put them in a hive to get Varroa, but not affect the bees. I know it sounds crazy, but fight nature with nature. I think they've done some things, haven't they? Hasn't there been some things they've tried? Some different. I remember, actually, believe it or not, my alma mater is BYU, and I think they were doing some sort of a study out there where they would put some sort of a it's not a mite, that's Varroa mites, but it was something in the hives that would attack Varroa. I don't know
like
how, whatever term.
Nematodes or something
like that, but it was a similar thing. I don't think it was actual nematodes, but it was something that it may have been a mite for the mites. I can't remember what it was, but there was something that would actually attack and kill Varroa mites within the colony. I'm not sure if that ever panned out. I haven't heard anything else out about it, so it may not have. But that's a great question. Have you guys heard of anything that would do that?
Scorpions. That sounds legit. Mr. David Little, good to see you in here, sir. Scorpions. I think diamondback snakes, tarantulas.
I think there are those small, like little crab-like things, though. Yeah, like Highland. Here, comments are going there. Pseudo scorpions. Yeah, they're small.
What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong with that?
So are they tiny? Are they just real tiny, or what are they?
Yeah,
little things.
Hey, this is totally related. That's why I got to say this. Okay, Mr. Arda with Apame, we were sitting out down at dinner. He was telling us a wonderful story about how he was just, I think, hanging out in the backyard in Arizona. People live there on purpose. Believe it or not, even after the story, people still live there on purpose. But in Arizona, they've got scorpions all over the place. And they actually have to treat their yards for scorpions. He's laying there just hanging out in the backyard, enjoying the sunshine, and got stung or bit. Or yeah, I guess it'd be stung by a scorpion. And the little scorpions, the little tiny scorpions, are actually the ones that you have to watch out for because they're so young. Yeah. They haven't learned how to control the venom yet. They just light you up.
Yeah.
I've heard that about poisonous snakes as well. I've heard that same thing.
When I was
imagine those little tiny scorpions inside of a bee box just to get rid of the mites. You open it. Oh my gosh, Bruce! If that video goes out, guys, there are some places on Earth you won't believe it, the likes of which you've never been seen. Fire ant mountains all over bee colonies. In between them, you crack them open. You may get ants in your pants. Hey,
that sounds suspiciously familiar. That sounds suspiciously familiar. Almost like Greg. Yeah, Greg might actually have experienced that within the last couple of weeks.
Look at Brian. That's a new thing. Look at Brian's got the thing up like hiding his face.
We need Lee on here to do some kind of a Photoshop something with the queen right dials.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, I think we've come to a point in this video that we've all been waiting for, and we have 338 people on here. We've had up to 350 people.
338. Can you believe that?
So how many people have done the hashtag? I can't see it, Brian. How many people?
248,000.
All right, I'm going to give you. Let's give you about 30 more seconds. So if you haven't put it in there, put in hashtag Vaporizer real quick. 350 people on here. Now, once again, this Vaporizer is a DeWalt. And so if you win this, you're going to have to figure out how to use a DeWalt battery. You may have to, if you don't have DeWalt tools, you may have to buy
very
a battery.
Affordable batteries.
But
those you can use the smallers.
But don't win it and then not use it, because it's a very valuable piece of equipment and
Bruce, I'm going to argue if you sign that. I mean, that is something that I would probably just put on the top of the Christmas tree every year. I mean, how beautiful would that be?
I'm going to sign it in here so people won't see. I'm just kidding.
Just put it on top of the Christmas tree, hang it on the mantle. I mean, it could be a fixture.
So I'll change that just because Greg won't let it alone. I'm going to actually sign this thing.
Yes.
I'll sign it. I don't know where, because there's not really a good surface to sign it on, but I'll figure out something. And,
you know what
anyway, but I hope you use it. I do hope you use it. So it's about $350 value.
350.
Whatever the batteries are.
$350,000 value.
I was thinking at least.
So anyway, are we getting there? Have we gone 30 seconds? We got more coming in. More.
It's almost there. I would say just to be clear, if someone were to have that appraised for insurance purposes, Brian, what do you think? No less than 300.
Okay, Greg. People are saying it needs to be branded. Is there a way you could put my brand on it if I send it up to you first?
Oh, I could, but it would not look good. The brand, your brand plate
is
like
laser printed or branded or something.
Massive. I tell you what we can do. We can put a one of a kind. I know what we could do. I got an idea. We could we could either ship the whole thing around and everybody sign it. I could take a stream team sticker. We could all sign it and just slap a sticker on there. I wouldn't brand it with a hot brand.
Okay. I tell you what,
laser engraved.
Let's do this. If Bruce, you're okay with this,
like no.
This is the vaporizer I used in a video. It's actually being used. It is used. It's got some wear on it. Just one day I used it, and but so I'm going to send this to you, Greg. You send it to Brian, or vice versa, and we will all sign it, and we'll send it to whoever wins the prize. Does that sound okay?
Well, yeah. And then
is that getting too complicated?
No. Put something. Okay, put that in there, and then put something else in there. Let's build a box. You remember like the Build-A-Bear days? You take the kid and your kids, and they build the teddy. What's this going to be? A Build-A-Box. Bruce is going to throw that in there. It's going to come to me. We'll sign it. Throw something in there. Throw it to Brian. Like we'll go around the world and we'll send it on down.
Scott, he's got it figured out. He says
this giveaway's turning out to be huge.
Huge.
Scott says, I think Bruce can sign a battery and send it along. I see where he's going there.
Hey, you know what? I actually have some of those little DeWalt batteries that I don't. You just never know. See? Let's just say it's gonna be huge.
Yeah. Anyway,
great.
So I think it's time. Let's spin this thing for the vaporizer. That's going to end up being more than a vaporizer by the time you get it. Spin it.
Look at that.
Dwayne Bittinger. Okay. All right, Dwayne, you need to confirm that you're on here. We need to make sure you're on here so we can get it to you. Is that how we should do it, guys?
That's how we should do it. Give a little Roger from Dwayne. Let's make sure he's here.
He's on here.
Oh, come on, Dwayne. Oh, Dwayne, you better be on here. Let's give him 10 seconds.
All right, so while we're waiting for Dwayne,
9.
Dwayne Bittinger messaged me, or just
oh man, I think we need him in the comments here. Come on, Dwayne. Let's give him 20 more. There he is here. Okay,
Dwayne, send me your address and your email. Send me your address where we need to send this to you at bruce@brucesbees.com. Send to that email, and we'll get it out to you. bruce@brucesbees.com. Okay, so that's not it though. We're not done yet. Brian, pull that picture up I sent to you.
But
Dwayne, don't
sent me a picture.
I sent it to you on Messenger. Dwayne, don't forget to send me that email, bruce@brucesbees.com.
Did you say there's more?
There is going to be another thing.
What?
I sent it to you on Messenger. You didn't get it?
You sent it to the wrong. Oh, wait. Here, hang on.
Castle Hives.
Oh, there we go.
You must have sent to jokersrs@gmail.
So I've been thinking about this because this is going to cost me a little bit. But
which picture?
Oh, man.
The one I just send you one just now? Picture of the... Let me send you another one. Let me send it again.
This picture?
No. That'll work, yeah. You see right there in the background between my head and Greg's head. Can you scroll in? Can you zoom it in at all, Brian? Is it possible?
Oh, I'd have to download it and here.
Yeah, don't do all that. Don't do all that. Hold on.
Here,
in that picture, there is. Let me see if I can get. Hold on. Yeah.
Here, I could. What do you want to?
Just the box. So, oh wait, I got a better one. Hold on.
The copper one?
No. Just a regular one. You guys know where this is going? Can you tell?
Oh my gosh, Bruce! I think I know where this is going, and if this is going where I think this is going, you're about to make somebody very happy.
Hold on, Brian. Hold on, Brian. I'm sending it.
This picture here.
That'll work, or this one right here. Did you get that one? Yes. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you one of these boxes that Greg delivered to me that I paid for.
Wow.
All the way from Ohio. to Bruce's Bees in Southeast Alabama, to the video where we had all the people there, to the video that Greg did that we just let drop yesterday, and to the video where we actually placed some of these on a colony. I'm going to send one of these boxes to somebody. So
that is cool.
Type in
Endura Hive, maybe
Endura Hive. Type in Endura Hive, hashtag Endura Hive.
Let me go back and I got to get it set up. You're too fast on me. Hashtag Endura Hive.
So,
Bruce, I tell you what, Bruce.
Yes, sir.
If you send that box to me,
okay,
I'll fill it full of Premier Puracell assembled frames,
okay,
a top and a bottom, and then I'll send it on. So somebody will get a hive kit single, an Endura Hive kit single. How does that sound?
Adds
wow
into the game. I love
it. I gotta type that in too.
Hey, and you know what? We'll pull. Maybe one of the Queen I've got a little Queen Right dial thing we'll throw in there.
Dial it in.
Dial the whole thing in, man. Why not?
Yeah.
Hashtag Endura Hive for a Bruce's Bees. We've only got 70 of these that have ever been done.
Only 70 of these things, man. Limited edition.
And they're supposed to go in my bee yard, but they can end up in yours.
Wow, Bruce, that was very generous. That was really cool.
So these are Propola Endura Hive.
That's a piece of the video history right there. Someone's going to have it.
I will actually pull one of them that was on that stack that was in the video too, because I haven't opened up the big pallet yet. So if it'll be one from that stack that we was in the picture.
I like that. That is
cool. I don't know which one it'll be because we've already put some on the colonies, but it was actually in that stack somewhere of the ones that were in the video where Greg was talking about it. So I thought I would just do that. I've been thinking about the whole video tonight, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to do that. So going to be the same type thing. It's going to take a little while to get there because it's going to go to Greg first. But I'll send it to you, shoot it to you. That'll
200 people.
Already 200 people. Wow. That's fun. Yeah. Let's let it go a little bit longer. Y'all put it in there. Endura, hashtag Endura Hive. If you haven't put it in there, this will be a fun
how many people? I mean, how do you see how many people on? Let me see. I got to go to the YouTube app here.
342.
342 people. Now, yeah. Unbelievable.
This crowd's huge.
Huge. The best crowd. Everyone says how best the crowd is.
Fantastic people here.
Fantastic even.
All right, guys.
The most intelligent. The best.
No, it's just flying up. So I want to, while we're letting a few more people put hashtag Endura Hive in here, I do want to tell everyone thank you so much for coming on tonight. And I know that there's probably some people that were on here because they knew we were giving away an Instantvap, and now they know we're giving away an Endura Hive box. But we just appreciate you being here. We'd love to see you back. And next week's live chat is going to be on Greg's channel at Nature's Image Farm. So if you're able, we'd love for you to carve out some time and spend with us next Wednesday night at Nature's Image Farm on Greg's channel, and we'll talk some more. You know, we're getting into spring here where we are really coming up on a busy bee season. There are a lot of issues going on in the beekeeping world right now with the colony loss, and there's a lot of things going on, a lot of things to talk about, and we're trying to figure it out. And I don't know what Greg has planned for next week, but it's always good whenever we always have a great time doing this. So DC's Bees, how many boxes per pallet? That's 70, right, Greg?
There's 70 deeps and 110. That's if they're going regular LTL. Mediums. I will throw this out there. If you are interested in having your farm apiary, your name branded onto boxes, we can certainly do that. So get with me. We can custom, and we can do a hot brand, not just a laser engrave, but a true hot brand. We can put those on your boxes too. Get with me to learn more about that. If you're bee club, or if you are in a pocket in this country and you want to get some orders together, you can get 3, 4, 5, 6 skids of material of orders together. It's very likely that I can come personally deliver that to you or your bee club. We're going all over the place doing that. I love just shaking hands, looking you in the eye, telling you thanks, how much we appreciate you, meeting folks, hearing their stories. Right now, I'm kind of just using the bee box delivery thing as an excuse to really get out there and meet a lot more folks. But if you're in the if you're a part of the country and you want to have that experience, let's talk. Let's see if we can make something happen.
I've seen several people that said, man, I sure want to get my hands on some of those boxes. And it was just an incredible, man, that was just an incredible day. When you came down here and we had, 10, 12 people there. We ended up with 8, but some people had to leave a little bit early. But we had, if you watch the video, you'll see so many people that came and just hung out with us. And the boxes were great. And we had, 16 pallets you sold, or 16 skids worth of equipment, which was a large order, and it was worth the trip. But man, as much as that, it was worth it just to get to have an excuse, like you said, to hang out with folks.
100%.
And when you think about that, Greg, I know, and I'm not all up in your business and all, but if anyone pretty much anywhere in the country can get together a group that can make it worth your trip, I'm sure that would be you would just live for that opportunity to go deliver some boxes to them. So talk to your bee clubs, talk to your friends, just see and make it worth Greg's time, and you might be surprised what he can do for you. Brian, let's spin this thing, see who wins this Endura Hive. Now, once again, you have to be in the chat here, which I'm sure all of you are, and you need to let me know. Just let us know in here, confirm that you're in here, and then send me the information. S. Reese.
Reese. Congratulations.
S. Reese. Now, once again, remember, this has to be in the continental United States, too. I can't send it all over the world. But, S. Reese, send me your make sure, confirm, first of all, that you're in here.
Make sure you're in here.
And then, so let's confirm it. Say, I'm here. Just say, I'm here in the comments. And
he's here, or she's here.
Right,
S. Reese is in the
S.
building.
Reese, shoot me an email at bruce@brucesbees.com. And we will get that. It's going to take a little while to get it because it's going to start I've got to go get it at the farm this weekend. And then I'm going to be sending it to Greg, who's then going to send it to you. At least that's the plan for now, unless it ends up going somewhere else first. I don't know that it will. But
what this will not end up being one of those delicious Cajun concoctions with Yappy's bee mug. It won't turn into one of those things. All right.
No,
it won't be.
Just
that was special for Yappy. We're not that. So that was a one-off. But why not? We'll send the box around. We'll add to it. Have a lot of fun.
But Greg, I'm just gonna really talk up that brand. If anyone wants to have that brand, is the coolest thing with my logo on there. It just looks really good. And so if you want to do that, if you order a significant number of boxes from Greg and you want to have him branded, it is just a hot brand. It's like he's branding a cow, except it's a bee box. It's just on there. It's burned on there. It just looks super cool and super legit. And so I think it'd be worth whatever it's going to cost you to get that brand made if that's something you're interested in. The best brand ever.
If it's one box or one skid, we can do it. There's a price attached to it. But if that's something that you'd love to have, we'd love to make that happen for you.
Anyway, so guys, I think it's about time to start wrapping this up. I knew the giveaway was going to be near the end. So guys, be sure and send me the email if you have the 2 winners. And I'm sure we'll have more stuff coming down the road and on the different channels. We love doing giveaways. And I've been looking forward to doing this for a while. When Rob sent me this, he sent it to me to try out. And I just decided to do a video on it. He said, give it away, do whatever. I want you to just try it out, give it away, and take care of it. And so I'm hoping to pay it forward here a little bit for you. And same thing with the box. I appreciate that, Greg. So Tyler, I guess we can start to wrap it up. I'm sorry, go ahead. What?
There's a question here from Tyler Williams. When will you be offering 8-frame wax dipped hive bodies? We already have them. We actually have them in stock. We also have the brand new Propola in 8-frame in both deeps and mediums. And just so folks understand, Propola is the textured boxes that mimic the bee trees. Those are available in both 10-frame deeps and mediums. We also have them available in 8-frame deeps and mediums. If you don't see them on the website, we're probably just a little bit behind getting that updated. But shoot us a message, and we can work with you on that and make sure you get the absolute best waxed boxes on the market.
I'm gonna put the link down below in the description here if I haven't already as well. I think it may be there, but if it's not, check it out. So let's go around the horn real quick, guys. Let's keep it dialed in.
Oh, look at that.
And I did have something I wanted to share right before you closed it out, Greg. So Brian, go ahead and what you got coming up the next few days.
Not much. Just our weather's going to dip back down cold, so it's just I basically, when the weather's not below like 20, I've been going over just cleaning stuff and getting prepped for the season. So riding out this cold, that's all I'm doing.
Greg, David Milburn, he was at the conference. He says, like, you could have lost one of those pallets in North Alabama on the way down to Bruce.
Oh man, well, David, if we would have known ahead of time, we could have put an order in there together. But we were at max capacity. We were at 16 skids on that trip, but anything in the world is possible.
If you're delivering some down to Tennessee, he's in North Alabama. If you're anywhere down there in Tennessee, he might be able to. You'd have to work it out with him, but maybe that's something he could do if he's up there close to Tennessee.
Sure, in the future, sure, yeah.
Okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and here at Bruce's Bees, we're getting into the real busy time. My goal this week is to get these awesome girls.
Look at that. Look at that.
We're gonna split the ones. We're gonna try to take care of any of the spicy bees we have down south on that Appleton route, Greg. Some of the ones that you experienced, although there's not very many that are spicy. A few that are a little bit spicy. And do some splits this weekend, and I'm hoping to get some more soon. And I want to really humble some of my mean bees up in the northern route that I have up north of town, north of the farm there in Newton, Midland City, all over in that area. And it's really right there by the farm. But I'm tired of the mean bees. That's my number one priority as we talk about. If you weren't here early, you can go back and watch that early part of the video. But my goal this year, number one priority with my bees, is to improve the attitude. I'm tired of the local. I think part of my problem in the past has been that I've bought cells that have mated with my drones that were already spicy, and some of them get even more spicy than they already were. Some turn out fine, but so that's my main goal, is to get this done this weekend, and hopefully I can get some more next weekend. I don't know if I can, but if I can, that's my goal. I'll hopefully have a total of I've got 28 here. Maybe I can get that many more, and we'll see what happens. But that's what I'm focused on now, is just we're in the bee season, man. We're just doing all the things. Springtime is here for us. Next weekend is going to be a little cooler. The highs are going to be like in the 50s, I think. So this weekend is going to be like 60s and 70s. And so we're right here at it. But I wanted to share something, Greg, before you finish. Well, I tell you what, tell us about your bees a little bit, Greg, what your plans are for the next few days. And then right before you close out, I want to share something with folks right before you say the last little bit.
Sure. I mean, as far as the bees go right now, we're in a just keep in prayer mode, because we still have some winter. We still have some cold nights. We still have some things ahead of us it's not been good. I can't complain. It's been worse for a lot of other folks. But we have felt even some of the loss here. We're working through it. We're rebuilding. Right now, we're working through, as far as the bees go, we're right now more focused on the business part of the Endura Hive and spring prep and lining things out, getting our queen calendars lined out, things like that. I'm looking forward to seeing these maples bloom and the spring being officially kind of ushered in. But where we're at with my bee, I'm in it's mental game right now. It's tighten up the mental approach. We're getting ready to load the truck up, and I'll leave out early tomorrow morning to go down to deliver some equipment to Tennessee, and I won't have the radio on. I will be driving, and I'll be thinking, and I'll be putting plans together, and I'll be having conversations with myself, and I'll be working those things out. I'll be spending a lot of time talking with the big man, asking for guidance and to keep everything moving forward. And that's right now. I think that we're just in a time of careful consideration and prayer and thoughtfulness and all the things that are ahead of us. That's where we're at right now, Bruce.
Okay. And right before I give this final thought, before we turn it over to you for the final thought, Greg, I want to say I appreciate you, Jared Sullivan, for the 2 super chats you sent, or the 2 super stickers. Thanks so much. And then one more question, Greg, for you real quick. And I think it's a great question, actually. Carol says, she just sent this in. Greg, will you sell Stream Team stamp to Endura Hives?
Ooh, why wouldn't we do that? We could do that. Let's talk about that. They would have to be some kind of, they would be more like like a fundraiser style boxes. But we could talk about doing it. Let's fellas, let's figure something out. I think that'd be
That's
cool.
a great idea, Carol. You got our brains.
Great idea,
turning
Carol.
now. And
make sure you guys write that down. That Carol, it was her idea, so we can get her taken care of if we do that.
Carol McCarthy Logston.
Carol J. McCarthy Logston.
Brian, can you write that down or something, or type it in somewhere so we remember that? Thanks for the idea, Carol. That's a great idea. We might end up with a sticker to her too if we do this. So appreciate it. I wanted to share something, and Greg, you know, since we've been doing this, when you look at the bottom of your Nature's Image Farm logo, it says #BeTheLighthouse. And you are so you've been so good. I think that's what we've tried to do with this stream team thing the whole time. We've tried to quote unquote be the lighthouse. And I just wanted to kind of close this out with a little bit of a devotion, a little bit of a scripture the one that kind of I think that this comes from. It says, "Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house." This is Matthew 5:16 right here. "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." And I just felt like I needed to share that tonight. I know we haven't been timid about our faith on here, and it may have turned some people off. I don't know, but it really doesn't matter. We all love the bees, and there is something divine about these little creatures, and we love them. And I think that the purpose behind your whole business, the purpose behind your whole, what you've brought into this whole chat, this beekeeping, this stream team, and the light that you've shared, you definitely have not put it under a bushel. You have allowed it to shine. And I think I know I'm better for that. And we appreciate you, Greg, you too, Brian. And I just wanted to share that almost as a final scriptural devotional there, a little thought that I had. It's been on my mind, and I thought I needed to share it. So with that being said, Greg, I want you to go ahead and close it out for us tonight.
Yeah, Bruce, I mean, you nailed it. That's, you know, bees are a part of who we are here on earth. They're a part of our experience. And because of that beautiful opportunity, it leads to understanding our purpose. It leads to understanding who we are, why we are. And it for a lot of us, ultimately draws us even closer to God, to our Creator. And for a lot of us is we are not ashamed to not only share the gospel of Christ. We are not ashamed to share the love of God, and we are not ashamed to proclaim His goodness and let folks know that the priorities in our life is number one, God, number two, family, and then number three, bees. That's what we live by. That's what we stand for. And there are millions of other channels and YouTubes and things that you can watch if this is not your thing. But I'm going to tell you, this is one little secret I'm going to share with folks. There was a point in my life that didn't seem like it was really that too long ago where crisis happened. And I had an opportunity, and God spoke to my heart, and He said, you can make this about you, or you can make this about me. And in that moment, I decided to use that moment and make that about God, to glorify Him, to let His light shine, not so folks would see me, but they would see Him through it. And the moment I did that, so many things in my life and my family and in my business, just like that, they turned. Doors started to open. And when we put God first and give Him the glory and give Him the praise, life goes a certain way. When we try to do things on our own accord, when we try to make everything about us, things go a different way. And I spent a very long time in my life doing that. So for that reason alone, when we say be the lighthouse, it 100% is Matthew 5:16. And Bruce just said it. It's to let your light shine before men, so that when they see your works, they don't see me, they don't see Bruce, they don't see Brian, but they see God through us. That's what it means to be the lighthouse, is to let the light of Christ, to let God's light shine through us. We are just the vessel. We are just the lighthouse. And we are living in times right now, you cannot look around. You can't look around and you can't not see that things seem to be in a very bad way all over the place. Drought, floods, fires, famine, you name it, earthquakes, things, guys. If not now, when? I'm going to leave you with that. If you're on the fence on what you're doing with your life, what your priorities are, and who you're going to give the glory to, when are you going to make that change in your life? If not now, when? next Wednesday, 8 p.m., the Nature's Image Farm YouTube channel. We'll see you there. And as always, I want to remind you to be the lighthouse and be the change you want to see in this world. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.